Hello.
Hello.
Don't know why I was muted. Sorry about that. to our friend Pablo, who said hello. We also got Zishen Gao saying hello. Got Vajan. Where are you guys all from? Let us know in the comments so we can give you a shout out. Hey, Michael. We got Felipe. Nice. We got quite a few people. All right. Well, we got Pablo from Spain. That's where we're from too. India. We got Lisbon. We got London. Rainy England. Michael, if it makes you feel any better, it's been raining in Barcelona where we're at for the past 2 weeks, and it doesn't look like it's gonna stop anytime soon. We got somebody from Ireland living in Mexico. Nice. We got China. We got Argentina, South Africa. We got people from all around the world. It's nice to see so many different nationalities. We got Israel, Spain. Nice, amazing. All right. Well, I think we can get the show on the road. All right. First things first. I'd like to welcome everyone to the workshop that we're doing today. So I guess we'll start with things, which is introductions. So my name is Jandro. I'm a success specialist at Landbot. I live in Barcelona, and I've been working at Landbot for over 2.5 years. It's still going strong. I've also got two of my superstar colleagues joining me today. Abby Dilly, would you like to introduce yourselves?
Yes, thanks, Sandro. So I'm Abby. I'm from the tech support team. I'm also in Barcelona, and I've been with Landbot for 1.5 years now.
Yes, thank you. My name is Dili. I'm from customer support team. I'm living in Barcelona too, and here we are in our Barcelona office. So I think we can get started.
Beautiful. All right. Well, now that you know us a little better, let me explain what we're going to cover during today's workshop. First, we're going to give a brief overview of the WhatsApp Business API and why it can be interesting for your business. And then we'll present you with 3 different use cases. First, we'll explain the use case in general terms, like how it works, what it's good for, and so on. And then we'll introduce some powerful features you can specifically use for each use case. So use case 1 will be customer support and the click to action feature. The second one will be lead generation and Regex validation. And the third one will be notifications, opt-ins, and sending templates. And at the very, very end, we'll be doing a short Q&A session. So if you come up with any questions during the workshop, feel free to drop us a line in the chat section like we've already been doing now. And we'll answer all your questions at the end. All right? All right. Next slide. All right. So why is WhatsApp interesting for your business? Well, first and foremost, to connect with your customers on their favorite messaging channel. So WhatsApp has over 2 billion monthly users, which is about 1/4 of the world's population. It's quite a bit. It has most incidents in LATAM, Europe, Africa, and some parts of Asia, but it's used basically all over the world. And users spend an average of about 4 hours on WhatsApp on a weekly basis, and opening rates are about 90%, which is huge if you compare it to like email or SMS, which can oscillate between 30 to 40% open rates in the best case scenarios. So there's also more business interactions happening on WhatsApp, and the acceptance for this channel is increasing in the business sector, let's say. So for example, nowadays in Spain's real estate market, a lot of the communication between the buyers and the sellers happens on WhatsApp. So imagine giving them a unique experience on their favorite channel will most likely boost engagement. Let's think of it in a different light or in a different way. So imagine you're interested in renting an apartment and you go to a page that's specialized in home rentals. So you apply search filters to match your needs, like how many rooms you want, how many bathrooms, your budget, etc. And all the list can go on. And then once you've done that, the page gives you the option to send you a WhatsApp message whenever a property that fits those search filters has been added to their site with a link that takes you to the page so you can view it. So in my opinion, I think there's a much higher chance you'll be reading the message and clicking the link than if you got an email probably. The best part about this as well is that you can automate the whole process. So there's no need for it to have like a monkey working behind like a computer sending millions of messages saying like, hey, the new property's on. But like you can automate it, and I guess that's why there's over 100 million companies using WhatsApp for their day-to-day operations. So that's it in terms of the introduction to WhatsApp. We're gonna get now into customer support. So customer support on WhatsApp has been quite a game changer in terms of direct communication with clients. Especially since the introduction of the WhatsApp Business API, because it allows you to have multiple agents replying from one same number. You know, I'm sure you've all been stuck replying from WhatsApp web or from a phone, responding to hundreds or maybe thousands of messages, and that can be quite annoying. So let's compare the web channel or web forms to WhatsApp. And I'd like to use an example for this. So I'm sure you've had the need to contact a company about shipping issues or a wrong payment or just to ask for help about something before, no? So in my case, what I do, I go to their website, click on the contact us page, and then you find out you need to fill out a form with your personal information, and you're told that you'll be contacted by email soon. In my case, that soon has been over a week in many cases, which caused me a lot of frustration, me and I'm sure many other people. Because also if you want to follow up with them with your request, you need to fill out the form again, and we all know that's not really going to help, no? So instead, why not shift your users from email or web forms to an automated WhatsApp bot that, in case you need to, can pass you on to a live agent. You'll have quicker response times, and clients will be much happier since they'll be getting real-time responses. But yeah, if you're asking yourself, how can I make my clients transition from web to WhatsApp? A very simple yet effective way is to add a click to action on your website, which is, for example, like what you can see in the image over there. Abby, would you mind explaining how it works?
Yes, perfect. Thanks, Sandro. So one of the main difficulties people face with WhatsApp is getting the client or potential lead to interact proactively. So a call to action widget is an easy fix, and this could be a simple button at the end of a form, or it could be its own widget. So what I want to show you now is actually a web bot that will redirect the client to WhatsApp, so we can do the opt-in directly there if we want. So let's see what it will look like when it's done. So here I have just a dummy web page where I've installed a widget, and this widget is a web bot. So I'm just going to click here on this WhatsApp thing, and we've added a lot of CSS to make it a seamless transition from one platform to another. So here we have pause space, and then we've added all this manually, and then I'm just going to click start chat. And this will redirect me to a new page, to WhatsApp web, where I can proactively start the conversation. All right, let's wait for it to load. Perfect. All right, so as you can see, I've already had a couple of conversations here. So I'm just going to show you a trick real quick. If you're testing your chatbots or you're in the middle of a chatbot and you don't know where you are, you can just put hashtag in it, and it will actually restart the bot from the beginning. So this is super helpful for testing. And let's see if it works. Since I'm sharing my screen, it might be a little slow. There we go. So perfect. And now the user is already interacting with the bot. So if we want, we can do the opt-in directly from the WhatsApp flow, since we'll already have their number and everything. But let me just show you how this works. So this is a template that's pre-built, and you can find it in the help docs. If you just search call to action WhatsApp, you'll find it, and you just need to copy and paste everything. But I'll show you how it works little by little. So this is the only part the user will see. It's the welcome message, and this is the button. This will be sent in the WhatsApp chat. So you can make it whatever you want, but it should be a button. You can change the text though. And then we're going to encode this button message. That way we can actually send it in the URL. And we're going to do that with the formula encode. And then we have the WhatsApp that directs to our phone number. And then we added the parameter text equals message encoded, which is the welcome button. And then this is a function that redirects the page, or in our case, opens a new window with a WhatsApp web. And this is just to close the widget afterwards. And then in the design section, you can see we've added a face and a tagline. And then we've got the JavaScript code to redirect the window, and then all of the CSS. And yeah, again, you just have to copy and paste this from the article. It's already there. And yeah, that's it. There you have it. Okay, so Sandro, back to you.
Great. Thanks, Abby. All right, so as we said, the next use case is going to be lead generation. So similar to what we talked about, the customer support use case, a very typical way to ask for a user's information is through a web form or a bot. So it can be as simple as a message saying, would you like to know more about your about our products? Leave us your information and we'll send you a PDF with our products list and prices, or a sales rep will get in touch with you by email or phone shortly. So phone calls, for example, are a great way to engage with customers, but a lot of people nowadays don't like speaking on the phone and would rather chat with someone in written form. No? So I'm not saying stop using forms or web bots, because they do work very well, but instead offer to move the communication from web to WhatsApp, where the users feel more comfortable. No? So you can kind of use a hybrid of both. So in the first case, if you use the click to action, you can have a specific bot for this case. This would probably be the most frictionless approach, just because Landbot captures the user's phone number automatically whenever they start a conversation. So you wouldn't have to ask them for that information. Because whenever you ask for personal information, it can create a little bit of friction and you can have some drop-offs. But alternatively, you can also have an embedded web bot that asks for the information, just like the one that you can see in the picture on the slide. So this is actually embedded in our WhatsApp product page on landbot.io. So if you guys want to check it out, then feel free to do so. What can happen here as well is that in the web case, let's say, is that users will write their number in a wrong format, or they forget the country code. And WhatsApp is very specific how they like their numbers. So that's why we'd like to introduce you to Regex. Some of you may already know it or how it works, but for those who don't, it's a very powerful tool to validate user information such as phone numbers. Once we have this information, we can opt in the user or opt the user in to receive messages from the company. We'll go into this in a little bit more depth in the next slide. But before we do that, Dili, would you like to explain how Regex works?
Sure, thanks, Chandra. So as Chandra said, Regex is very useful for validation of very different kind of user inputs format. So let me just show you the article in our knowledge base so that you can see different scenarios where it can be applied. You can just search for Regex. And as you can see here, you can check whether the number contains a certain number of digits. You can check the format of the postal code of a specific country. You can check the date or time formats, as well as what number or whether uploaded file by the user contains image. So you can see it can be applied to very different scenarios. In our case, we're going to validate the Spanish phone number. In the internet, there are a lot of different expressions, so we can just Google it, Spanish mobile phone number, and you will see different webs where you can check the specific regex expression. For example, in this one, the user is specifying the optional format that he wants to allow and what exactly needs to be matched, like the number of digits and the first 2 digits. So in this case, the regex expression is this one. So we could just copy and paste it. I have already done it here, so I will show you how to use it in the formulas block. In the formulas, we have a specific method for that, which is regex test. As you can check here, it always needs to start with the slash and the upper arrow, and also end in slash. So As you can see, it's the same expression that we see in our web, just by adding these 3 symbols. And of course, the variable that we want to validate. In this case, it's a phone. Also, what's important here is to set the block outputs to true or false, because what we're doing is to check whether it matches a certain regex expression or not. Okay, so we have our block already configured. So in case the output is true, which means that the phone number matches the format, we can continue the flow. And in case it is not, which is a false output, we can connect it to send a message to let the user know that he can try again, and then back to the phone number. So let's give it a go so that you can see how it works. All right, so my name is Lily. Let's just try with any random number, so that you can see that it will not allow to proceed. You see here, please try again. We can try a number from a different country, just to check if it accepted. No, which is good. And now we can find here just the specific Spanish number, which we know that are valid, and here it is. It's perfect. So you can double check it, and here, as you can check, the regex. So back to you, Chandra.
Oh, I think that's me now.
Oh,
So
sorry.
thank you, Dilly. Perfect. So now that we have the user's phone number and now that we know it's correctly validated, we can actually do the opt-in directly in this flow. So the first thing to know about opt-ins is that you absolutely have to explicitly ask the user if they want to be opted in. Otherwise, if you do it without asking, you can get blocked from WhatsApp, and we don't want that. So here I've asked with a yes or no question if they would like to subscribe to notifications from us. And since Dilly has already showed us how to validate the number, we just need to add here our webhook. So first we need to get the opt-in endpoint, and we're going to do that from our opt-in number. So let's go here. This is the number we're going to use today. And we're going to create a new snippet. So I'm going to call this one Abby test, for example. And then I'm going to add a message template. These are both optional. I'm going to put welcome. And you can add it with parameters or without parameters. If you don't know the user's name or any of that, it's recommended to add one without parameters. But here, since we're already asking for the name, I'm just going to put @name. That's the Landbot format to add a parameter. And then this is the business, so I'm going to put Landbot for this example. And then I'm going to press select, perfect. I'm not going to choose a bot. It's not necessary. If they reply, they'll be redirected to the bot connected to the channel. So I don't specifically want a bot for this message. And then here, I'm just going to put a label, Abby test, for example, and I'm going to create the snippet. And you'll see now that it's generated a URL. So I can copy this, and this is where I want to make my opt-ins to. So I'm just going to copy this, and let's go back to the bots. Here, opt-in. And let's go to webhook. This is a RESTful API, so I'm just going to put it there. And for this specific one, I don't need any authorization, but I do need to send the parameters, one of which will be phone, and they'll be added to the endpoint. So I'm just going to select the variable phone. And then I'm going to add name because we asked for that anyways. And you can include here whatever you want. So if you have any extra information, you can send it as well. And let's test the request. Keep in mind, this is a real request when we test it. And it should always return 200, but it can take a couple of minutes for the opt-in to be accepted by WhatsApp. So I just want to show you the payload here. This is where I get my user ID. So it's here under ID, and I'm just going to save that for later use. So I'm going to save the ID. Let's see where it is. I have a lot of variables here. Okay, here we go. Thank you. And I'm just going to save this under customer ID. And I'll display it to you later because we're going to use it afterwards. Customer ID. Okay. So let's go through the flow and see what it looks like with the variables and the opt-in. All right, would you like to subscribe? Yes. Okay, my name is, let's say, webinar. And my phone number. Okay, it's correct, yes. Perfect, so now I get this message and then I'm just gonna save that for later. And then if you look here, I've gotten the message that says, hello webinar, thank you for subscribing. So that's perfect. And yeah, that's how you're gonna do the opt-in. So I think Sandro, back to you.
Thank you, Abby, very, very clear. Actually, we're gonna get into a little bit more depth with notification sending, since this is our next use case that we're going to be presenting. So let's get right into it. Okay, so notifications on WhatsApp are probably the most powerful feature of the WhatsApp Business API. I guess that's my opinion, but I definitely think so. They're very useful for very many things. But before we get into examples and what they're good for, there's a couple of WhatsApp rules you should know in order to understand how they work. So the first thing is that there's two different types of messages. So there's user-initiated messages and there's business-initiated messages. So as the name explains, user-initiated are those where the end client is reaching out or sending the first message to your WhatsApp number. And then business-initiated are those initiated by the business. Let's see, just to make sure to try and understand. WhatsApp works in 24-hour messaging window. So if the client writes to you like right now, you'll have 24 hours to respond with a bot or with an agent message without any control. Once the 24 hours have passed since the user's last message, then the only way you'll be able to reach out to the client is through a business-initiated message. So in addition to that, business-initiated messages require the opt-in, which is exactly what Abby just explained before, and they require template messages. So opt-ins is basically like giving the user giving consent to receive these notifications, and the template messages, these are in order for WhatsApp to control what is being sent proactively from the company. They don't want to become like a spam platform. So instead, they make sure that they know exactly what the companies are sending before they will. Template messages only need to be approved once, so you don't have to actually approve it every time you're going to send a message. But let's say if you have like a generic message and you want to send it on a daily basis, you approve it once, and then you can just shoot it out every day. So with that said, now let's get into a couple powerful notification examples. So to re-engage your users, an example of something I've been working on with one of our clients this week is actually for customer support. So there's a lot of support teams that are only available from Monday to Friday. So with all the rules that WhatsApp has, imagine somebody who writes to you on Saturday. Once you get back, or once the agents get back to the office on Monday, they're going to try and send a message, and they're not going to be allowed to. So instead, what you can do is get a template message approved to re-engage those users who contacted support on the weekend by sending them a notification like on Monday saying, hey, we're back in the office. If you still need help, please send us a message or please reply to this message. Then we have sending important updates. So this can englobe like millions of things. But the example that I like to give is for example, for a flight company, an airline. So if you opt in to receive notifications or updates from the flight, if your flight's delayed or if there's any changes to your flight, you would be able to receive a message from your airline or a template from your airline saying the new expected time of departure, the reason for the delay, or any sort of important information that you'd require. And then the one that they've most recently opened, because before promotions and commercial information was not allowed on WhatsApp. So you're actually allowed now to send promotions. So a great example of using notifications to send promotions are our friends from NiceHop. So they use Landbot to create a bot which searches for the best travel deals based on a couple of previous questions. And they use notifications to follow up with clients, to send them like interesting deals based on these questions that they've been asked before. No, so we're very proud of their work, and it has paid off for them since they've been prized as best chatbot in Spain by the Spanish Ministry of Tourism. So if you're planning a vacation anytime soon, you should definitely check them out. But yeah, so that's the power of notifications. The great thing about them as well is that you can either send them manually or automatically based on triggers. So to do it manually, you have the campaign section on Landbot. You just select your audience, select the template you want to send, and send it, or even schedule it for the time that you want. And then you've also got the automatic notifications, which can be set up by API based on specific triggers. So I think I saw a question about if you can send templates 7 days after users opted in. If you set up something outside of Landbot so that you have like a counter, let's say, I think Abby will be able to get into it a little bit more. But you could actually like set it up so that after 7 days the templates send. But anyway, Abby, if you want to go ahead and explain how to send WhatsApp templates by API.
Yeah, perfect. Okay, thanks, Sandra. So let's just go to the dev docs real quick and see what we need. So we're going to here, and let's go to WhatsApp templates, and we want send to send a template. Okay, so this is our endpoint, and we're just going to copy this. And then for this example, I'm going to use Postman. I highly recommend it for testing. It's super useful, and you can see really clearly that if you're getting any errors and what they are. Okay, so we're going to do a new request, and this is going to be a post request. We're going to post the endpoint here. Perfect. Oh, don't forget the backslash. Okay, and we're going to go back and copy the body. This is just for an example, but it's a good example. Okay, so we're going to put it here. There we go. It's going to be a JSON. Okay. And we need two things in order to send this. First, we need the customer ID, and then we also need the template ID. So you can get the template ID here, just doing like a GET request to this endpoint, and it will show you all of your templates. It will show you the IDs, how many parameters they should have, where they should be. But for now, we're going to get it from our box. So we're going to go here to channels. We're going to go to our channels. Oh, back actually. We're going to go to message templates here. And then here we can filter by approved. And here we see all of our current approved message templates. So let's just look at preview and see which ones they are. So let's say, for example, I want to send this one. So it's called media order confirmation. And here it is. So the template ID is 1074. And it looks like it had 3 parameters in the body. So I'm going to add here. Let's make this a little bigger. All right, so here we go, 1074. And then I'm going to remove this. Oh. Okay. And the header doesn't have any params, so I'm going to remove this. And I'm going to remove the parameters from here. Let's remove this as well. And then in the body, I believe there were 3 parameters. So I'm going to put a 3rd parameter here. Test. Okay. Comma. And then there were no buttons. So I'm just going to remove all of that. Okay. And then the template language was in English. So we'll keep that. And then in order to send this, we need the customer ID. So let's go back to when we did the opt-in. And remember, we saved the ID here. So let's just copy that. And we can put the ID here. All right. And last thing we need is the authorization. So we're going to get it here. We're going to go to our accounts. Oh, and we need to make sure we're logged into the right account, otherwise it won't work. So I'm just going to copy my API token. And for the key in the header, I'm going to put authorization. And then for the value, I'm going to put token space my API key. And in theory, that should work. Let's test it out. Yes. So I get success true. And then you can see here on my phone, I've gotten the update with the 3 parameters I want. So yeah, that's it. Just an HTML HSM template. That's all you need. Okay, so Sandro, back to you.
Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. All right, well, that's all 3 use cases. So I think that brings us to our Q&A. So I don't know if you guys knew, but a couple of people actually left some. Well, we shared a bot where you could share your questions prior to the workshop today. So we had a couple of people leave some great questions. So we'll start by answering those, and then once those have been answered, we'll jump onto the ones that you guys have asked so nicely on the chat section over here. Okay. So yeah, let's shoot with the first question.
All right, why won't it let me use variables in the opt-in snippet? This is probably because the opt-in snippet was already created and then you went back and tried to add the variables. So what I would recommend is just creating a new opt-in snippet. You can create as many as you like. And then before you generate the snippet, you can add the variables in the HSM template. But one thing to keep in mind with the snippets is don't delete all of them ever, because then you'll lose all of your opt-ins. So just be sure there's always at least one. And yeah, just create a new one and add the variables directly there. All right, where can I find the customer ID to send the HSM templates? Okay, so there are a couple of options. Either you can find it in the payload from the opt-in, as we saw in the example, or you can search by user phone number. So if you go to the dev docs, you can find search by, and then you just search by the user's phone number, and that will return the ID where you can send them their messages. Otherwise, you can find it in metrics, in users, or in the chat section. You'll see at the top their ID. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, question from Emma. Is there a new way to send HSM template to individual user from the platform? Or is it only possible via API? Well, it is possible. If you let me share my screen, I'll show you how to do this from the chat section. Thanks. Because as you know, as Chandra explained, you can send them in the campaign, which would be, you can filter your audience and send your HSM template to multiple users. And there is also an option to do this from the chat section. For example, this conversation, let me just check one conversation from the WhatsApp. Because it is only available in the WhatsApp chat, okay? You will not be able to use this option. So here it is. You can select the message template from here. This is this third button, which looks like a file. So this is how you can actually send it from the chat section to individual user in the basically same way. Okay. When sending WhatsApp campaigns, is it possible to tag the audience somehow so I know later who received it? It's a question from Mike. Well, this is a great question. Let me share my screen again, please, and I will show you where you can set this. From in the campaign section here, when you create a new one, there is this last option, add custom variable to the campaign user. So this will assign automatically to all the users that are entered in this audience for this campaign a specific variable so that you can use it, for example, for the next campaign. So yeah, this is.
All right, so we got a question from Web Daddy. if you have a WhatsApp business app installed on your phone and have set up for a phone number, can you hook in a bot into the same number WhatsApp channel? Just to make sure that I think I understand the question, but basically I understand that it's whether you have a number on WhatsApp business app and you want to have the same number on WhatsApp business API and connect the chatbot to it. That's what I'm understanding. So that's what I'm going to answer basically. But yeah, there's a common misconception about the three different types of WhatsApp solutions, let's say. So the first one and probably the most used is WhatsApp app, the one that everybody uses just to communicate between each other. You got the WhatsApp business app, which is the one meant for smaller businesses in theory. And that doesn't provide like all the automation, let's say, that you can do on the WhatsApp business API. And then you have the WhatsApp business API, which allows you to do a lot more automation, connect databases and chatbots as well. So to answer the question, you won't be able to have the same number on the WhatsApp business app and the WhatsApp business API because we'll have to migrate that number, or it's necessary to migrate that number from the business app to the business API in order to do it. So hope that answers your question. And we got Petra. What is the maximum number of buttons possible to add to one question in WhatsApp chatbot, and are multiple answers supported? That's a great question, first of all. So right now with Landbot, we have the reply buttons functionality, which allows a maximum of 3 buttons. I know that our development team and product team are working on the list buttons option as well. I'm not sure about the limit there, but it's definitely more than 3. If not, you have the keyword options block, which allows you to put many options. But instead of actually being a button, they're in written format, and the user has to select the option they want, like a number 1, number 2, or they can type in the keyword. And are multiple answers supported? I'm afraid not yet. Okay, I'm a customer for more than 2 years. I want to use this, but getting WhatsApp is long and endless process, and we appreciate if you can help us on that. Yeah, I feel your pain. So that's actually something that us in the success team we usually handle. So if you do decide to try out the WhatsApp integration, once you request the WhatsApp number, once we request the number, we'll reach out to you by email and we'll help you along the whole process. But just so you know, the most important part is to have your Facebook Business Manager verified, and that's something that happens between Facebook and the end client, and we don't have a lot of ability to push on any side over there. Mainly because of GDPR, so they don't usually share with us any information for any rejections or approvals or why it's taking longer than expected. But for any other part of the process, you'll be able to count on our help and advice.
All right. Hi, guys. Is it possible to send a WhatsApp message from a web chatbot? I understand that they're referring to HSM messages. And unfortunately, it's not possible from a web chatbot because it's actually calling our own API. The opt-in is different because it's calling something else. So we can't send ourselves messages with the API. So a good workaround for that would be using Integromat. So you could set up an Integromat trigger. You could send the customer ID and the variables if you want, and then you send that to Integromat. You set up a scenario, and then for the second one, you connect this one to an HTTP, and you can do it directly in Integromat. So yeah.
And okay, so yeah, we got a follow up from WebDaddy. Sorry for not answering your question before. So same way as I was answering the last question. To migrate the number, you just make the request, and we'll take you throughout the whole process. And once we reach the migration point, we'll let you know what steps you need to follow. But basically, it's just deleting the phone number from the WhatsApp Business app, and then we'll connect it for you on the WhatsApp Business API and connect it to Landbot so that you can chat with your customers through Landbot. Does that make sense?
All right. Abby mentioned an article earlier about WhatsApp. Yeah, so I'll just share my screen again, and then I'll show you all. All right, so let's go to help docs. And then here you just need to type call to action. And it's this one. So it's under CSS customization examples because there's a lot of CSS, but don't worry, it's just copy and paste. And then, so you'll see here the entire example, you'll see exactly what to put. We have it put so you can just copy and paste everything. So the CSS, you just copy it, you can see it's a lot. And then the JavaScript as well, it explains where to put it, what it does. And yeah, so that's in the help docs under, if you just type in call to action WhatsApp, you'll see it right away. So thanks for the question.
Hi, Mark. Sorry, is it possible to link a custom number to WhatsApp number, such as 0800 chat for me as an example? That's a very good question, and I'm not 100% sure. I mean, we know you very well, Mark, already. So I'll look into this, and I'll send you an email if you want to answer your question. Is that all right? Beautiful. All right. I guess we'll wait another 1 or 2 minutes in case you guys have any other questions. But I think we've managed to answer most of them, if not all of them. But yeah, again, another 1 or 2 minutes, and if not, we'll call this. We'll wrap it up. We'll call it a wrap.
Yeah, guys, let me just take advantage of these 2 minutes and to inform you that in the following months, we're going to release some important product updates relating to opt-in and some WhatsApp features that are going to make this process very easy. So stay tuned and you'll see it in the product updates.
Awesome. And I also just wanted to remind everybody that if you do have any other questions that you didn't think of now, or like after the workshop, you're like, damn, I should have asked this question. Just contact us at any time at help@landbot.io or through the chat section in the little pink bubble inside the app, and we'll be more than happy to help. Oh, we got one more question. Do you want to do that one?
Me? Yes, you can integrate a web bot with your Shopify store if you want to redirect there. Yeah, we have an article on that too. If you just look for Shopify in our help docs, you'll find it.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you everybody for showing up, for great questions, and for taking the time to listen. Again, if you have any questions, reach out. We'll be more than happy to help. And wish everybody a very pleasant day.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Bye.
Bye-bye. Take care.